After the defeat of the Persians by the Greek army, all of the men of a town called Karyai, who fought on the side of the Persians, were killed. Their town ruined and their wives were took into slavery. To mark these women as wives of the fallen men, the triumphant army forced them to keep their robes to be shamed and burdened by the wrongdoing of their state. The Caryatides, or the Maidens of Karyai as they were called, are still remembered to this day by the work of a Greek architect that reflected the sin of Karyai and burden of these women in his architecture. He placed them as statues to hold the weight of his public building, currently visited by more than 1 million tourists each year. The fall of Karyai is still remembered to this day due to the work of an architect that truly understood the importance of history. This story is taken from the first book on architecture, written by Vitruvius, who lived in the Roman Empire and was the architect consultant for both Julius Caesar and Emperor Augustus. In his book, he argued that the path of a successful architect should be based on several pillars. The first pillar is history. It's used to present the culture and the social behavior of the crowd, the state, and the civilization as a whole. As with the story of the Karyai, architecture is filled with long-lasting buildings, designed by architects who truly understood history. Art, drawing, and geometry is the second pillar to transform ideas into architectural shapes. Philosophy is another tool in the toolbox. The architect that studies philosophy can understand higher meanings and introduce even higher purpose to his shapes. At the time of the writing, understanding the ways of the gods was essential to build temples. However, philosophy can also help the architect to shape his own personality and to be honest in his designs. Physics give the architect the ability to interact with the elements and forces of nature, such as wind, earth, and gravity. Music, to represent a vocal interpretation of math and harmony. Both are pillars of architectural design. Theater, to show the architect knowledge to sound behavior and propagation. Law, to follow the state's rules and to avoid unnecessary conflict with neighboring lots. Medicine, to understand the human anatomy and the elements of our health that are crucial for the well-being of the buildings or city's occupants. And astronomy, to map out the sun path and to direct it into his buildings. Vitruvius was wise and clearly understood that any person will need a full lifetime to be an expert on any of these topics. However, as the architect that may have shaped architecture forever, Vitruvius asks his readers to know just enough to express the right judgment so they can create beautiful cities and to play a positive role in the creation of a happy and strong society.